So if you gave me $2,000 to start an art collection, I wouldn't spend it in the way that most people think I would spend it. I wouldn't chase the hype for sure. I wouldn't buy what's trending, and I definitely ain't trying to impress nobody, because $2,000 used with intention can do a lot more than start an art collection. It can set the tone for how you collect for the rest of your life. It can help you build relationships, develop an eye, and lay the foundation for a collection that's gonna hold real value, real meaning, and real long-term strength. You really don't have to be rich to collect, and you really don't have to be an expert. You need clarity, you need connection, and you need the right first step. That's what we're gonna talk about today in this video. Look, don't listen to all the people that say you need 5 figures to start collecting. You need $100,000, $200,000 to start collecting or to be a serious collector. It's not really the money that's making you a collector. It's the intention in your collection that makes you the collector. I've seen people with $1 million budgets make unfocused, reactive choices. I've also seen people with $1,000 start collections that eventually shape their legacy, shape their collector journey, and shape their community. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how I would use a $2,000 budget to collect with strategy, to collect with purpose, and long-term impact. We're gonna talk through shifting your mindset. We're gonna go over what I would actually do, and we're gonna break that down into 5 steps. And I'll walk you through what to buy, but also how to think. What we're talking about in this video is collecting with depth and collecting with alignment, no matter how much money you have. Before we get too deep, I'm Mariah Elise. I'm an art advisor, a curator, and a strategist. Let's walk through exactly what I do with that $2,000 art budget step by step. Section 1, we're gonna talk about shifting your mindset. The first thing I do with this $2,000 is stop thinking like a buyer and really start thinking like a collector. When you ever hear someone say, I'm gonna acquire art, and then you hear another person say, I'm gonna buy art, those are 2 different type of people. Thinking like a buyer and thinking like a collector, 2 different things. When you're a buyer, you're constantly reacting to what's available, what's affordable, or maybe even what's trending. When you're a collector, you make every decision part of your bigger picture. The budget really doesn't limit you, it focuses you. So let's get clear on 3 things before you even spend $1. I want you to know, what stories do you want to preserve or participate in? That might be Black abstraction. That might be regional histories. That might be queer identity. You might really be focused on experimenting with material. That's for you to decide. You have to decide what matters to you, what your collective vision is. You can also kind of start thinking about what artists or what communities do you want to be in relationship with? Not just ownership of. Does that make sense? You have to think about, what do I want my collection to say about me? And what do I want my collection to say about me when I'm not in the room? Because it's gonna say something. Private collectors, they could be spending $5,000 a year. They could be spending 6 figures a year. The ones who make the most progress really aren't always the ones with the biggest budgets. Really, the ones with the biggest budgets, you gotta kind of slow down and pull back. The ones who are doing it right are the ones who are doing it with clarity. They understand that their collection is a reflection of what they stand for and not just what they can afford. So I want to talk about how to turn that $2,000 into something real. So 5 steps. Step 1, start with the information. Don't start with any impulses, okay? Before I spend a single dollar, I'm gonna spend time. $2,000 is not play money, and I want to say that first. I don't look at $2,000 as play money. So I'm not saying $2,000 is a small amount of money. I think you need to spend $2,000 intentionally. And in the terms of an art collection, $2,000 is foundational. So I personally would take a few weeks, maybe even a few months, researching artists. I would want to understand their terrain. I would want to start noticing patterns in what they're drawn to, and if I'm drawn to what they're drawn to. So you might be wondering, what does that actually even look like? Follow them on Instagram. Subscribe to the newsletters of small and mid-sized galleries in your locale or in your region. Follow the curators and the artists who are actively shaping the things that you're curious about. studying artists who are coming out of MFA programs and residencies and alternative spaces, listening to what artists say about their own work, watching artist talks, reading artist statements. It would really be helpful if you were to create something like a tracker or a journal to kind of keep you up to date on what's going on, or writing notes about what you find yourself drawn to or what you find yourself liking. When you see an artist and you're actually drawn to that artist, make sure you're writing that artist's name down, and then write 3 things down about why you're actually drawn to that artist. Over time, you'll start understanding what you are personally attracted to. You have to ask yourself, what keeps drawing me in? What kind of work do I keep revisiting? Is there a theme? Is there a material? Is there a subject that I keep coming back to? This is a part of collecting. Matter of fact, this is collecting. You're shaping your own lens, okay? So step 2, I want you to go to galleries. I want you to go to fairs. Yes, even with $2,000 budget, go to the fair. Show up to the fair. Because art fairs, they're not just about buying. I mean, I go to art fairs and don't buy anything at all, but I'm learning, I'm exposed, there's education, I get access. You're learning what types of works are being shown right now in this contemporary space. What prices look like across different mediums and markets. Which artists, which galleries are showing consistency. And you're introduced to so much art that you start to understand what you like and what you don't like. You even start to understand how to ask questions to artists and to art dealers. But I do want to give you a tip. If you're going to go to a fair, plan for the entire day so you're not rushing. Going early in the day is probably the best thing to do. And when you get there, ask galleries about the artists that they're showing. Ask what materials they're using. Ask how long they've been working with those materials. Ask the gallery how long they've been working with the artist. Introduce yourself, not just as a buyer, but as a collector, as someone interested in building long-term with that gallery, with that artist that you're interested in. Let me tell you something. You never know which relationship or which conversation will change how you collect. So make sure when you're going to these fairs, you're going to these galleries, engage. Fairs are one of the best places to see what's happening across the art world, from emerging artists to mid-career artists to blue chip artists. It's a place to see what's actually going on and what galleries are interested in showing. So remember, if you're coming to Houston, September 19th through the 21st, I'll be doing tours, doing untitled art, so you can actually get some context. All these things that I'm telling you guys to do at the fairs, we can do it together. If you want more information on that, click the link in the description. All right, step 3, the third thing I would do. I would focus on the right type of work. Now, I know that can be very broad. Like, what's the right type of work? The right type of work ain't the right type of work for everybody. But with $2,000, I'm not chasing scale. I'm chasing art that has substance. I would prioritize works on paper, drawings, collages, small studies. I would prioritize photography, especially from early artists, especially by artists early in their career or artists that are underrepresented. I might even focus on editioned work, but only if the artist is committed to that form. I really don't want anything commercial. And I want to avoid all the red flags. I'm going to avoid works that have 1,000 editions. I'm going to avoid works that feel rushed, that feel gimmicky, that feel made for trend. And the only way that I'll be able to avoid that is if I study, if I do step 1, right? I'm going to avoid anything that's being pushed too hard without context and without clarity. You want work that feels like it's a part of a broader practice, not just something that's made to be sold. For example, I know artists right now doing small scale works under $1,500 whose practices are really grounded in community, really grounded in material history and in place. Those are the artists whose careers I track and whose work is gonna hold cultural and collector weight. Now, step 4, after I've done all of the research, I've gone to the fairs, I've gone to the galleries, I've read the artist statements, I've looked around, I understand what I like, I still have my $2,000 in my pocket, I still haven't spent it, I know that I gotta focus on context, I know I can't focus on scale, I know I might be getting something a little bit smaller, but I know that I wanna buy what I love. Once I get to step 4, I'm pretty much ready to make a decision, right? Like I've spent a few months looking around. I've spent a few months discovering. Now, step 4 should be something that we're constantly thinking about and actually thinking about throughout the process of deciding what we're going to collect. Step 4 is knowing where you're going to put the work, and do you have enough money within your budget, within your $2,000 budget, for framing or presentation. Now, if you don't, throughout this process, maybe you want to be thinking about buying something that's ready to hang, something that's already framed. If you have a little wiggle room in your budget, then you don't have to put framing and presentation within that $2,000 budget. You can spend the whole $2,000 on the actual artwork. But I do want to recommend that as you are looking, as you are discovering and deciding what you're going to collect first, that you're thinking about how am I going to present this in my home and how much could that cost? We could talk about that in a completely different video, but that is a completely different form of budgeting. Those are different conversations that you're going to have with framers to kind of grasp an understanding of how much you might be spending when you acquire this artwork. This is the part that people skip, and it usually shows. A cheap frame can really flatten the energy of a great work. A thoughtful presentation is going to honor the artist. It's going to make your space feel intentional. So I want you, when you're thinking about, when you're getting to that final moment of saying, okay, I'm going to collect this work, I want you to take the measurements, take a photo to a framer, and start getting some ideas about how much it's going to cost you to frame. And if you don't have it within budget, then figure out what your next step is going to be. But I don't want you to cut corners. And if you have nowhere where to go and you're just confused, how do you find a good framer? Ask the gallery for framing recommendations. Ask the artist for framing recommendations. But whatever you do, just do not cut corners. Now, hopefully, by the time you get to step 5, this is going to be really easy because you've done the work. You have done all of the research. You do know why you're collecting, and you've already written notes about this artist. Matter of fact, you've written notes about so many artists, so you know why in particular you're spending your first $2,000 on the artist that you're spending it on. But after you acquire the work, I want you to focus on documentation, and I want you to really spend some time documenting the why. I always say, don't just collect the work, collect the story, collect the vision, collect the purpose. Write down why you bought it, what drew you in, where you discovered it, what your relationship looks like with the artist, what moment of your life it captured. And I know this sounds like a lot, but it is a part of growing your collection. It's a part of creating legacy through your collection. This practice is also going to help you refine your collection point of view, because you might not be at the point right now that you quite understand your point of view. But if you do all of these steps that we talked about, and then you document your why, at least you'll understand, or you'll begin to understand what your actual collection point of view is. This practice is going to help you track growth in your taste, track growth in your judgment. It's also going to help you reflect on what's changing over time and what you're staying true to, what you're staying connected with. Look, with $2,000, you're not building the most robust collection. I'm talking about maybe collecting one work. But within this experience, if you use your $2,000 the right way, then that $2,000 sent you on a journey. And it sent you on a journey of discovery. It sent you on a journey of building your lens, building relationships, and building discipline to collect well. I hear way too many times from collectors, I wasted so much money in the first 5 years of my collection journey. And I just don't want that to be you guys. So I'm telling you, follow these 5 steps. Build the discipline to collect well. It's gonna serve you no matter how much money you have. It's gonna serve you if you have $2,000 to spend. It's gonna serve you if you have $100,000 to spend. Build the discipline in understanding why you're collecting. Build the discipline in understanding who you're collecting and what story or what point of view you're building within your collection. Now, what I just walked you through, it's not about budget. It's about starting with clarity. And that's clarity around what matters to you. That's clarity around how artists build. And that's clarity around how to make the choices that will hold up financially, emotionally, and at some point, hopefully, historically. Honestly, if you're on a $2,000 budget, you're probably gonna be a lot more intentional. You're not gonna do the panic buys like the $200,000 collectors do. You're probably gonna build foundation that's gonna sharpen your identity, that's gonna sharpen your community, and that's gonna really lead to your legacy. And if one day you do have $200,000 to spend on a collection per year, that $2,000, the way you started with that, is gonna help you not waste any money, not buy things that you don't actually love when you get to $200,000. So don't wait. You don't need to wait. You don't have to have 6 figures, 7 figures. You don't have to have all of that money to collect. And if I'm not talking to you with the $2,000, maybe you only have $500. You can be just as intentional with 500. You can be just as intentional with 200. Just make sure you're being intentional. Just make sure you're following these steps. Don't worry about your budget. Worry about your intention. Worry about your direction. For anybody that wants to move with intention and with direction, I want to invite you to join my Patreon. I usually recommend Building Glory. It's my favorite tier. We also have Starting Glory, which allows you to kind of slide into the Patreon. But I really recommend Building Glory. Inside Building Glory, I give you market breakdowns. We go over artist spotlights. We talk real strategies. And I give you guided tools to help you collect with purpose. And if you're an artist, I give you guided tools to build your career with purpose. This is a space where you can come and kind of sharpen your lens and sharpen your voice and move more intentionally. Now, if you're one of those folks that really need that high touch guidance, that really need that one-on-one, then I recommend Mastering Glory. It's for those of you who want direct support. Mastering Glory is going to include everything from Building Glory, everything from Starting Glory, plus a one-on-one session every single month. And you can use that session to map out your strategy, map out your career strategy, map out your collection strategy. You can ask me about an artist that you're considering and we can go over it together. We can audit your collection and identify what's missing. I usually only have 4 open seats, but this month and next month, I'm opening 6, maybe 8 seats. So y'all go to the link in the description and just check it out. Just click on the link, go through the Patreon, explore it a little bit, see if it's something that you guys would want to join. And if it is, then I'll see you guys there. All right, for those of y'all that's not really ready to join the Patreon, join the newsletter. Okay, make sure you're signed up for my newsletter. That's where we're gonna share quick market insights, quick advice to artists, quick advice to collectors, easily digestible, but it's also a place that's gonna allow you to see what's going on, what video just dropped, what's actually happening in the Patreon, and what's happening in real life. So to close out, I just wanna say, and I wanna acknowledge, $2,000 is a lot of money. And to some, it really might not seem like much, especially in the world of $1 million headlines, but it's more than enough to get clear. It's more than enough to get connected and to get started with intention. I want you guys to collect with care and to collect with context. And if you're ready to collect with me, I'll see you inside of one of those things. Anyway, you guys know what I always say. We're in this together. I don't care if you're a collector. I don't care if you're an artist or someone just interested and enthused by the art world. We're on this journey together. We're on the road to glory together, and we're gonna get there one video at a time,